Today it's time for a best of 5 series of top level StarCraft 2. It's time for a Zerg versus Protoss. We're in the top right hand corner, joined by Zest on the main nexus. We have none other than herO. And down in the bottom left, joined by Vorazun, we have Shin. Now both of these players have been playing some fantastic StarCraft as of late. I mean, there's no denying that herO has just been on another level lately. I think it's pretty much impossible to be a fan of high-level StarCraft at the moment and not be a fan of herO. There's, I mean, a lot of things you can criticize it. You can criticize many of the decisions that he makes and the strategies that he chooses. But man, are pretty much all of the herO series that I've seen on the latest patch so far, they're all highly entertaining. Likewise as well for Shin. Shin has really found a new loving, especially for like 2-base mutas, 3-base mutas, and all the rest of it. A lot more macro-focused, I suppose, than maybe somebody like herO, but there's no denying that Shin has just been also playing some fantastic StarCraft. So, the new patch, I mean, the small changes really added up to a meta right now that is disrupted a ton compared to just like 3 months ago. Strategies are a lot more up in the air. I do expect that they will settle over the next few months. At the very least, I think it probably is likely that we will see more and more quote-unquote normal builds. We need another pylon. All right, that pylon feels a little bit late, but it's okay. We'll probably see the meta settle over the next few months, but at least for the time being, everything is very much so up in the air, and I secretly hope that we're gonna end up with a meta where like a dozen build orders are viable in every matchup. That seems to be the case right now at the very least when it comes to Zerg versus Protoss. Maybe Terran is a little bit unlucky in that regard. I feel like Terran is kind of pushed into a corner a bit more, but no Terran last time I checked in this particular series. Unless one of them decides to change in game number 2 or something. I'd be very surprised. That would make absolutely zero sense. But who knows? Stargate opener right here for herO. Now, of course, with the Stargate, the norm, at least on the previous patch, would be going... It would be to go like 2 to 3 oracles, right? But lately, what we've been seeing a lot from herO is Void Ray into Oracle, Void Ray into Void Ray, Oracle into Void Ray. We've been seeing weird 2-base Tempest builds. We've even seen a Mothership Rush from SOS. Really, the sky is the limit. I don't think the Mothership Rush was particularly great. It's a Phoenix. I think Phoenix openers... Look, don't get me wrong. They are really entertaining. And they are some of my favorite builds to look at. I also think they're pretty atrocious. Yeah, I think they're pretty terrible across the board. Now, are we gonna go... okay, we're not gonna go multiple Phoenixes. I thought for a second we were gonna go, like, say, double Stargate Mass Phoenix, which used to be a strategy back in the day. This is going to be a Phoenix into an Oracle. And I'm assuming there may even be a second Oracle as well in just a moment. But I think the plan is just to snipe Overlords. Now, obviously, the advantage of going for a Void Ray is that the Void Ray can also, well, deal with Zerglings, for example. Shin immediately capitalizes on this or runs a bunch of links across the map because he knows that taking this third Nexus is going to be tough. Yeah, normally you get a Void Ray to help out, but last time I checked, that is not where a Phoenix is going to be particularly useful. So good reaction here, actually, from Shin. And these are the little plays that can really add up because now... He's also, in a way, defending against the Oracle, right? Because the Oracle needs to stay at home just to deal with, well, any Zerglings that are still running around. This third Nexus is going to be massively delayed. Do you now go across the map? Not really, because he's only gone for a single Oracle. So I think this Oracle will probably, yeah, be, well, probably at least. Maybe he's not going to keep it at home, but it should likely be used for defense duty. It's still 5 adepts in total. We have glaives on the back of this as well right now for herO. Yet again, a bit of a strange beginning. One thing that I have seen in Shin's games, as we see the Oracle getting pushed away, is the fact that he skips out on both the Roach Warren as well as the Baneling Nest an awful lot. So he goes up to a lair with really no defense against adepts whatsoever. Again, it's +1 melee. If we expect the lair to start up, it should be in about a half minute from now. If we expect a Roach Warren, it should be coming right around the same time. If he skips both the Baneling Nest as well as the Roach Warren, which it may very well be because this is a super fast 4th hatch, he's gonna need an insane amount of Zerglings just to deal with an adept push. Because obviously adepts, they will eat Zerglings for breakfast, and the adepts are already moving. So, yeah, we have a Baneling Nest coming up at this point in time, 5:20 of in-game time before he started it. I think he does know, though. That's the weird part about it. Shin likely knows, or at least suspects, that it is indeed going to be an adept follow-up, but he has chosen to just go for mass circling instead. And you know what? It seems like herO was also not expecting it. Recall used on some of the adepts. That was, I think as far as Zerglings versus adepts with glaives go, the perfect hold. Yeah, that really couldn't have gone much better. I mean, it's still 28 lings in total. Some of them obviously died to that oracle. Recall has been put on cooldown. More adepts are likely to fall, at least this one. Yeah. Now the game becomes a little bit awkward, especially for herO. Shin is likely just gonna go into something like hydra-ling Bane, but what do you use those adepts on right now as the Protoss? The fact of the matter is, and maybe don't tell the ladies that themselves, that adepts are kind of terrible the longer that the game goes on. They have a power spike, and, well, I mean, it's already passed. Where do we use them right now? Do we just YOLO them in and hope for the best? I did see some defensive Banelings. If we do another shade forward like we had in the, well, previous engagement, those Banelings are going to destroy it. Nice scouting right here, though, by herO, and he now sees that indeed there are Banelings present, decides to back up. He does not want to get all of those units blown up, because if he loses those adepts, the Zerg is likely going to counterattack. We have a Hydra Den together with a Spire. People made fun of me for doing this back in 2015. Okay. Whew. Hydra Corruptor. A loco strategy back when it used to be terrible. Is that what we're going for right now, Shin? What can I say, guys? I was a decade ahead of the meta. Which is probably a bad thing. Anyway, the Spire is still coming, but we also have a fleet beacon on the other side of the map. So, what do we do with the fleet beacon? This fourth Nexus is likely never gonna happen. Nah, cancel on that. He's probably gonna restart it, but Zerg should be able to push into that over and over and over again. Are we gonna... We only have one Stargate, right? Are we doing this just to get the Mama ship going? Adept, in the meantime, on the other side of the map, did get 2 additional kills. This almost looks like a mothership follow-up. Because if you want to go Tempests or Carriers, you really do need to have a second Stargate just to be able to pump them out 2 at a time. Mothership, though, is expensive. 400 minerals, 400 gas, but he's got it. Yep, that's what we are going for. herO decides to indeed, well, put the name of Zest once more out there as he starts up the good old Mama ship. Tempest now also. All right, this is a weird, very messy setup for herO across the board. And I'm a little bit afraid for when the Zerg really commits to their first attack. Because so far, all we've really seen here from Shin is just a little bit of poking. He had some units made, and he decided to use them aggressively when he scouted the first Phoenix. Likewise, we had a counterattack after that as well, just because he had some leftover units. But for the most part, this is Shin, yeah, with his hands off the aggression. He's just sort of choosing whatever he likes. Well, apparently what he likes is to make 12 Mutalisks all in one go. He knows there's a Phoenix out. He knows that there's Stalkers out. And he probably suspects that Storm is gonna come up next. herO has seen the Spire. So going 14 Mutalisks, especially in a game where you are massively ahead... Oh, he cancels them. Wait. He cancels the Mutas and makes 12 Corruptors instead. It's such a gamble to go for Mutas, especially when you are leading. There's really no reason to risk it at all. Shin apparently now looked at the front. He saw that maybe a Tempest? Maybe he saw the mothership itself? I'm not exactly sure what he glimpsed, but apparently he decided that Mutas are indeed a no-go, and Corruptor hydra-ling is what we end up building. Okay. I'm a bit afraid that what we are going to witness here in just a moment is a Protoss player getting torn apart. Yeah, now we have the Banelings getting morphed in. Shin is now finally preparing. It's been 10 minutes in the making, but he's finally preparing for his first real attack. And I think the Corruptors can just swoop up and destroy the mothership, destroy all of the flying troops. And with them out of the equation, and considering there is... like, with them out of the equation and no storm, no splash damage really here at all for Protoss? What in the world are you gonna do against this mass amount of Protoss? Well, you can hallucinate a Colossus. That's one of the strategies to go for. Immediately, the corruptors will be targeting it down, but I think he now realizes that indeed it is a fake. Banelings are hunting it down. Mothership decides to activate the cloaking field. Not enough detection, really. There's one overseer nearby, but still enough for the time being. Yeah, Mama can run, but she cannot hide. Tempest goes down. Fourth Nexus also bites the dust. And this is exactly what Shin was prepared to execute. It's a nice push. It was meant to be with Muras. He probably expected that it was going to be a High Templar follow-up, and when he noticed it was a Skytles transition really early on instead, he decided to cancel them and go for the Corruptors. Still, the production right here for herO is good. herO also did save the majority of the workers. So if he can stabilize, this might be a playable spot. But here's the Zergling reinforcements coming in, and there's just a swarm of them running across. Gateway here is low, so really no way to prevent the flood from going into the main base. We're going into Zealot production now just to get rid of those links once and for all, but the swarm is starting to infest the natural, the third, the main base. herO doesn't have a whole lot going on anymore at this phase in the game. Brilliant match by Shin. Really well managed. GG. Game number 2, we find ourselves on the map Tato Citadel. Late probe scout right here from herO. Look, I don't want to point out everything that's weird that herO does, because there's a lot of things that he does that is a little weird. But, considering we're just a minute into this game right now, I fast forwarded. I think it is worth... Oh wait, I'm on the wrong overlay. I think it is worth pointing out that he decided to go for a Gateway Scout. Now, Gateway Scout is odd. Gateway Scout doesn't really scout anything. There's really like two normal options for Protoss to probe scout with. Either it's before you build the pylon, so you send the probe straight across the map and you block the Zerg's natural very easily, or you pylon scout, so you can see whether or not it's a spawning pool first. Gateway Scout hits too late for either of those two things. So, what are you working with? What are you aiming for? What's the point? Gateway Scouts actually in the pro gaming community are oftentimes referred to as a no scout. So, if you hear a Protoss saying they're going for the no scout opener, it doesn't mean that they're not scouting. It just means that they're going for the scout that doesn't really scout anything. You're just double checking whether or not everything is kind of normal and you're just being a little bit of a prick. It's not very good. herO knows this, obviously. Like, this is not news for herO. But it's one of the things that he plays just to, I guess, add in an additional level of mind games. Cheeky little drone transfer down towards the bottom. He's got a bodyguard. 4 of them. Man, that drone was royalty. I think we can now finally conclude that becoming a building as a Zerg unit is a promotion and not a punishment. What about a Zergling being morphed into a Baneling, though? Is that a promotion? Like, technically you become a more expensive unit, but also... Oracle now for herO. Much more conventional start for him this time around. Second gateway even before the third Nexus. Spore Crawler here blindly for Shin. A little bit early on that one. Maybe he's a bit concerned of the potential that there might be a proxy Stargate or something along those lines. Generally speaking, you can delay this by a few seconds, but not the end of the world. See, this is basically the fastest possible Oracle. And you can see that the Spore Crawler is now already done, even though the Oracle can't quite arrive yet. So, not exactly sure why Shin decided to build it early. Because if it would have been to prepare for like a proxy Oracle, then it would have been too late. Anyways, he's still scouting the top of the map. Apparently we're going into details today. Today we're going to StarCraft school. I hope you're taking notes. All of this will be on the test. Second Oracle. Third Oracle. The most conventional build that I've seen herO play in literally months. I like this, actually. Using an Evo Chamber to save the drone. Evo Chambers have the fastest HP gain of any structure that Zerg can plot down easily. Spore Crawler likely would have died there. Evo Chamber, though, is indeed enough to stay alive. Cute little move by Shin. Still though, these oracles are nice for two-shotting. One missed attack in total. Nice retargeting by the Zerg. Manually targeting onto that spore crawler, or with that spore crawler rather, onto the drone or onto the oracle here that was shooting at the drones, but not quite getting the kill. So this is just a triple oracle opener into blink with +1. This is what we consider to be the gold standard for months. Now, obviously, there's a couple of things that changed that maybe make this strategy slightly less powerful. Most notably, I suppose, here is the energy recharge nerf. It's not as powerful now as it used to be. Makes these oracles just a little less reliable, but I mean, they're still they're still probably the best unit that Protoss has access to. It's always a fun thought experiment. What do you think is the best Protoss unit in the entire game? Probably oracles. What's the best unit for Terran? Probably Marines. It's kind of dumb, but Marines are pretty much, yeah, the cream of the crop. What's the best unit for the Zerg? I would say the good old Zergling. Yeah, Zealots are not nearly as cool. Sorry for the Zealots enjoyers out there. Still though, a bunch of drones end up going down. And even though this is more conventional than what we normally see from herO, he's executing it just fine. Maybe the Queen is better. It's actually kind of difficult to say. The Queens are kind of insane. Robotics Bay coming up quite early on. Curious to see when he's going to move out with the Stalkers. So yeah, he's doing the thing that MaxSpecs really likes, where he moves with the Stalkers. Before Blink is done. I think MaxSpecs would have already been on the other side of the map right now. MaxSpecs really likes to bait out the Zergling production. Straight 4th Nexus here as well for herO. Blink now finishes, and now he finally feels like he can go across. Yet again, by the way, this has been quite a greedy build from Shin. Yet again, skipping out on the Roach Warren. Just going for Zerglings with quick +1 melee and using copious amounts of them to stay safe. Gold base coming up. Shin actually double expending, which is kind of funny. So he shows to those oracles that he goes for a 4th base right over there. And then he follows it up with, well, a 5th nexus. Or Zerg nexus right over here. Just a slightly less pyramid-shaped type of nexus. Does that mean Protoss built the pyramids? I have heard that people think that the aliens have built it. Maybe. Well, I think we would all classify the Protoss as aliens. Either way, Lurker Den coming up right now for Shin, who apparently does not shy away from playing a normal follow-up as well. So this right here may be the most conventional game that we'll have between these two for the foreseeable future. Because most of the time, they don't play this style. Now, we don't yet have Storm, do we? No, he never got Storm. He did get a Templar Archives, but he never actually researched it, just, I guess, for some Archons. Nice little gas dump in that sense. Only a handful of Hydralisks available right over here on the Watchtower, but there are more of them out. Lurkers are going to be quite sketchy. Without Disruptors for defense, without Storm for defense, I wonder how good, that first influx of Lurkers is going to be. Shin decided to spend basically his entire gas bank. Range coming up. He also just queued up the Burrow upgrade as we were looking at it. So those Lurkers are trying to see if they can strike while the iron is hot. And it's going to be hot. This base over here in the middle of the map is looking mighty vulnerable to me, but it all comes down to the engagement. Base in the far bottom left, completely unscouted. So this may be the reason why herO is playing the follow-up so passively. He is chilling. He's also distracting the army over here. A lot of Zerglings are dying. I would have loved to see this as an opportunity now to move in with the Lurkers, but I think since Shin is feeling like he's got such a nice economy as it is, he's not really noticing a lot of urgency in his moves, right? He doesn't really need to go across the map right now. He may as well just hang back and use the Lurkers defensively. Yep, You can send them across in the Nidus network, so that's the follow-up plan. Zergling run by coming up. We have some Lings already positioned around the map. Wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna see an Overseer or maybe... Oh, really? We're gonna commit? Okay, hold that thought, because herO decides to move up towards the high ground right now, and this is an awful lot of Protoss. You know what? Can he just straight up kill the Lurkers? Normally, it is not advised to push into Lurkers like that, and I still don't think it was optimal. Shin clearly also believed that he was safe right in this position on the map. herO moved up there so confidently that I thought for a moment he was just gonna crush it. A lot of reinforcements coming up though, and that fight was still surprisingly good for Protoss. So this is basically him playing without Storm. It's another one of those herO-esque moves, right? So he goes for the +1 flyer upgrade, the +1 air weapons. He's going into the Fleet Beacon, the extra Stargates here, but he never researched Psystorm. Curious. Tempest start up? Yeah, if you were to ask anybody in StarCraft 2 what, like, the best spell in the game is right now, I think most people would say Psionic Storm. Maybe the Queen's Inject. But as far as, like, aggressive spells go, maybe the Creep Tumor. Alright, as far as actual combat engagements go, though, I think usually Psystorm is on top of the list. herO doesn't like it. Base in the bottom left, though, still unscouted. And this could just be a gigantic misread from herO, because he's actually doing a really good job. Now, this Zergling run by here is lovely. Yeah, these are very well upgraded Lings at this point. Actually, do they have Adrenal? No, they don't yet have Adrenal. I say that, these Zerglings are not actually particularly well upgraded. Shin, what he does have, though, is just that income from this base in the bottom left. We saw that gigantic group of Zealots moving into this base. They should have gone to the bottom left, but herO simply does not know. Spire now coming up. I've noticed, by the way, that Shin is doing a very Sue-esque approach. Remember the Zerg player Sue? Famous for getting second place in everything. Maybe infamous would be the better word. Although he did win Katowice after many years of second places literally everywhere. Anyhow, he's not really focusing on spellcasters. It's a very swarmy approach, and maybe that is why I'm personally so fond of it too. I think the much more, I don't know, Infestor Viper style where you just sort of sit back, I don't really love that too much, but that's just a personal preference, I suppose. This is basically 0 spellcasters and just full swarm all across the map. Lurkers are running away on the right side while the Hydras and the Lings are working together with the Lurkers here to kill another Nexus. herO decides to give up on the base because he still believes that this Zerg player is stuck on 4 bases. He is not stuck on 4 bases. We have a gold in the far bottom left. He is assuming right now that this Zerg is going to be bleeding out, that this is almost like a last-ditch effort. But that is not the case at all. Shin is able to sustain this for a while to come. I think herO's heart is going to sink if he scouts this in the bottom left. He's going to be very upset about it. Quite a clever player, right? So Shin, to clarify, he double expended when he went for the 4th. So he took this base and the base in the bottom left basically shortly after one another, and he purposefully showed the 4th hatchery to the opponent. herO looked at it, he's like, yep, this 4th base timing is normal, nothing really to worry about. We can make these assumptions, everything is fine. He's gonna see it now, though. Yeah, and he's gonna be very unhappy about this. Is he gonna click any of those mineral fields? Well, I guess he doesn't need to. The visual alone is going to indicate that we have a lot of mining that has already happened in this spot. Immediately upon scouting it, he knows that he needs to slow the game down. A new Nexus starts up. The mothership begins as well. Still, though, herO is really squeezing a ton of value out of the army that he's got. Hatchery over here needs to be abandoned for just a moment, but the drones did stay alive. Hatchery over here needs to be cancelled, but at least Shin did not lose that much. Zealots decide to target the drone. But I think this is fine. Okay, he's actually just giving up on the expansion in the bottom left. Yeah. Can't really blame him. It's a difficult spot to defend. Still, herO has got an awful lot of army. He's also continuously making Archons. He's gonna go up to 11 Archons. That feels like too many Archons. Like, 11 Archons are gonna derp into one another. Anyways, still no storm. Whoa. Whoa, what a fight. How do you win this as Protoss? Do you lose this as I don't know. This is a weird engagement. We had a surround upon a surround. I think this is fine, though, for the player that has the bigger income, right? So Shin still has a decent amount of money coming in. Obviously, we have that newly made Nexus over here on the right, though. So herO should be able to transfer some of the excess amounts of workers. Yeah, he has quite a few of them. To that base over here to optimize money. He also did snipe the hatchery in the far bottom left. But, of course, Zerg didn't really try to defend against it. herO actually really needs to resaturate that base. We have so many... Yeah, there's like at least a dozen workers that should be rerouted to that expansion. Very early cloaking field activated right here for herO. Corruptors yet again. See the Archons, though, underneath. They deal splash damage to clumped up units. Corruptors may actually not be in plentiful numbers. No, not the case. Overseers over here are still, I guess, good enough because the rest of the Protoss army moves from underneath the cloud anyways. But there's not enough units for Shin to hold this. What a crazy game by herO. He didn't see the base in the bottom left. He never started up Psystorm. This was, I guess, the most conventional build that we've really seen him play over the last month or two, but he still did it in the most herO-esque way possible. Next up, we find ourselves on the map Celestial Enclave. Now, I was fast forwarding and I was at minute 1 when I realized a gigantic red square on the minimap right next to herO's main. Okay, so what are we doing? Probe Scout as well, going in around the back. This is a hyper-aggressive cheese here from Shin, but also one that we don't really see all too often. Now, the weird part is that herO has decided to wall off the low ground right over here. So that means he's intending on taking this as his very first expansion. herO has seen that his opponent didn't expand over here, but normally Zerg takes this base. Probe, though, does go down to the low ground. Okay, I love this here for herO. If he would not have spotted this in time, this can become a massive, massive problem. Zealot immediately has started up. It looks like he still wants to go for a Nexus. Gotta be a little bit delayed, though, with 2 Zealots built before that Nexus, but it does make a lot of sense. And question now becomes, how much value can Shin get out of the proxy hatchery here regardless? There's the Nexus started up. Cybercore is going to finish in just a moment. Do we have any drones here added into the mix? No, not the case. Drones for a Spinecrawler rush would be kind of fun. Second Zealot is still going to be awesome. Roach Warren for Shin. He is mining gas. He did go for Ling speed. Despite the fact that he's been spotted very early on, he's doubling down. Obviously, that means that he cannot afford to lose this hatchery under any circumstance. Now, what herO sees at the moment is that new larvae are becoming available and that none of them are being spent, meaning that he may just assume that he is safe. But, well, we have roaches coming up instead. He doesn't know that those are roaches, but I think he can make the assumption. Brenda decides to play Ring Around the Rosie with those Zealots for just a moment. Now the Stalker is joining in together with a probe, and Brenda is going to get covered. She decides to poop on the edge, but I'm assuming, yep, that is also going to get sniped. Roaches will be spawning. Probes pooled here. I think the probes are mostly just here to get us around, and that is honestly brilliant work. New Stalker is going to be popping out of the gateway here in just a moment. Probes have decided to, get a taste of blood and immediately capitalize on that as well. We do have some Zerglings, by the way, at the front. Yeah, and Link Speed is going to finish up in just a moment. Wait, is Shin still navigating this to a position that is actually playable? This pylon over here is going to be within range of the gateway, but I don't believe it's going to be within range of the cybernetics core. This Link Speed came in, honestly, completely unsuspected. I don't think herO thought that that was going to be an option at all. Another Stalker taking a bit of a bruising, but does get healed back up by the shield battery. Shield battery in the main base, though, is getting targeted down immediately. Okay, that one's not going to live. Stargate starts up. Stalker now gets surrounded and likely will fall. herO tries to get rid of it. New links are showing up. And you know what? This gateway actually is not within range of the pylon. This pylon will, of course, be okay. But the gateway has been idle here for about a minute. New links have been made as well out of this hatchery now. Roaches are coming up. Wait, is Shin still doing this? This is one of the weirdest proxy hatchery rushes I've seen in a while. I thought that when herO saw it, he was going to be able to hold it quite easily. Obviously, it's never easy. But I think herO may have become a little bit too complacent. He assumed that it was going to be an easy hold. He thought he had that one in the bag already. Don't know why the Zerg army here is attacking the Nexus. That was certainly a misclick. Brenda, by the way, is going to be popping out. New Zerglings coming across the map yet again. Yeah, he's just making more and more units. And now herO, for the first time really in this game, is behind in the worker count. Wait, is this game over? I mean, an Oracle is coming, but is there still enough economy here for the Protoss player to benefit from? Like, he's losing so many workers. Ravagers will spawn with full HP if they finish. Brenda, in the meantime, working away. Oracle is going to be available too. Oh, probe. Okay. Gotta be very careful with that. Oracle here does indeed get a nice hit in. The Queen has already gone down. Enough energy available still as well to kill a Ravager and most of a Roach. The creep spread, by the way, is a bit of a disaster. Shin even made some drones. Oh, he made drones so he can still go for the spore crawlers and maybe a spine crawler or two? I mean, I think this might just be game over. What? And keep in mind, herO scouted this such a long time in advance. He now sees the spore crawler and he's going to be entirely unhappy about that. Yep, the spore crawler attack. It moves into the main base and Shin takes the 2-1 lead. Shin, he knows that herO can be a bit of a clown sometimes. But I mean, that strategy was giving the Protoss a taste of their own medicine. I can't believe Shin actually pulled that off. So he went Zergling speed with it, right? Which is a little bit odd. He saved up the larva, and I think herO saw that the larvae were being accumulated, so you can have up to 3 without an inject. He saw that those larvae in the proxy base weren't immediately spent on Zergling production. So with it, he decided to just go and, think about the follow-up. He didn't really worry so much about killing the hatchery. He could have certainly killed the hatchery. Then, of course, the Roach Warren was available. We had 3 larvae right on the dot. And 3 roaches got produced. A new queen as well on the back of it. It almost felt to me, because Shin could have started up that extra queen a little sooner too. It almost felt to me that Shin also thought that the defense was done for Protoss. Then he decided, you know what? Maybe I can actually still squeeze out a win here. Epic first 5 minutes or so of that game. And, well, ultimately it worked out perfectly there for the Zerg, but I don't think herO is going to be all too happy about the spot. No. He was like 3 zealot attacks away with those zealots of his. To kill the hatchery itself. A few Zerglings going across. Now, by the way, what this series... If you're a Protoss player, right, and you're watching this series, I'm a little bit afraid that game number 2, so the one where we saw Protoss pushing into the lurkers, is going to be a bit of an inspiration. And I'm a bit afraid for, I don't know, especially like diamond level Protoss players or so that looked at that and are like, wait a second, I can just attack move into about a dozen lurkers with my ground army that doesn't have storm, just like herO did? I feel like that might be... I wish you good luck. Because I feel like you're going to make many Zerg players that you go up against very happy with a push like that. Just felt to me like it was going to go horribly wrong, and then herO still made it work. Anyways, Void Ray first right here on Tourmaline. How many Void Rays do we make? Is it just going to be the 1? Yep. 1 and then into an Oracle. Man, I'm kind of hoping we're going to see another proxy hatchery. Like, if herO wins this, I'm hoping we're going to see one more. because that was so dirty. That's gotta be one of the nastiest proxies I've seen from Zerg all year. Can't believe it worked, even though it got scouted so early. Alright, overlords are going to die. There is a second overlord hiding on the left side of the map. And I hate to break it to you all, but Otto is pretty much already dead. He's still living. Should I move away? Should I pan the camera to another spot? Pay your respects to Otto, please. In the meantime, some Zerglings going to town over at the third. Probe ends up falling. A whole load of adepts yet again, but no glaives this time. Shin, by the way, has been going for, as we do see some of the drones now dying. Shin has been going for very quick +1 melee, but not as quick as what we used to see. So he's been going for +1 melee, okay, most of the time before lair. Now he decides to go lair before +1 melee. It's all a little bit odd. It almost feels a little bit random. Not exactly sure what his decision making here is based on. This is nice though. Both the Void right there together with the Oracle helping each other out. The Oracles now helping each other out to create a little bit of vision, but still the Zergling numbers are just so freaking big. They cleared a path so the adepts could go across the map unscouted. Void Ray. Oh, Brenda over here, not afraid of being a red HP. She stays alive and she kills a Void Ray too. Now the Zergling counterattack can become really problematic. Not a ton of energy available anymore on that Oracle. If you lose all of those adepts, the third Nexus may just be next. Oh, Zergling stream into the base, and this is an absolute disaster here for herO. Yeah, that's too many probe losses. That is way too many losses. Why, we go glaives now? There's no way, herO. You've just lost all your adepts. You just lost 10 probes and 10 adepts. Now we go into glaives? I mean, this is so dumb that it might just work, you know? Because this really does not make any sense. This is the anti-timings of all anti-timing. Like, this is not... Now, Shin yet again has skipped out on the Baneling Nest. He has skipped out on the Roach Warren. He has skipped out on the +1 melee. This is like a 5-minute lair, which isn't particularly fast. It's just been Zerglings and Queens straight into Hydras. herO's looking around right now, tries to see, okay, is there a Spire? Is there a Baneling Nest? Is there a Roach Warren? There is a Spire right now coming up, but that Spire is not going to be finishing in time for Glaive to Depths. It's going to be pure Hydra, pure Zergling. So, those are the two units that Adepts are best against. Guys, I think it's gonna work. This is a herO game to a T. It's so nonsensical that it actually makes sense. Yeah, this Zerg army is actually just gonna melt. It's way too many adepts. We do have some transfusions going down onto the Hydralisks. In the meantime, by the way, the worker count here has been going up yet again for Protoss. He actually grabs the worker advantage. He's gonna see the Spire too, which is really nice. We already have the Blink follow-up on the back of this. And what was looking like a 3-1 win for Shin is now a little bit less stable. He's not in a terrible position, though. Yeah, as the dust settles, this is still very playable. Losing the fourth is costly. I really don't know, by the way, why Shin has decided to skip out on all sources of real stability here. Hydra-ling Bane is a normal unit composition, is what we see all of the time. Pure Hydra is kind of shaky. Pure Zergling is kind of shaky, so not sure why he decided to skip both of them, but he's still doubling down. Maybe Shin accidentally thought he started up Brood War or something, where you don't have roaches and you don't have banelings. You just have hydra-ling. But it's yeah, it's a little questionable. The Spire is now also pretty much impossible to do anything with. Although Shin, I mean, much like the adepts, it kind of felt like the age of the adept was over. Even though the Spire was scouted, maybe Shin is... Yeah, he's still gonna do it! Both of these guys are clouding on one another. Ten mutas coming up. Problem is here, though, for Shin, that we don't have pure hydra-ling, right? Like the adepts we're fighting. We are gonna play with stalkers, and stalkers with zealots and charge and all the rest of it. They do have blink. They have already they're gonna have plus two attacks. I mean, they should be a pretty good match for the mutas. It's a different situation, so I think this actually favors herO. But it still comes down, though, to the first batch of mutas and where they're going to be used. One problem right now for the Zerg is that he has not been able to secure a fourth. Is he going to use the Mutalisks for base defense? I don't know. Maybe that's the plan, but it also means he has to reveal them. Plus, he has to fight Blink Stalkers. And I'm not sure that really mutas are going to be the best choice for this. Keep in mind he has +1 missile. +1 missile is nice for the Hydras, but not really useful here in this fight so much. More mutas coming up. Fourth Nexus, by the way, at the far bottom section of the map. I don't even know if it's scouted. No. Completely unscouted. It's not undefended, but it is fully saturated. Whoa, I think he should go into the mineral line, but he's a bit afraid right here of the push at the front. This is just pure Stalker right here from herO, who's doing this off of 9 gateways. Prism is gonna get sniped. I don't know why herO decides to go for this push, if I'm being frankly, or if I'm being perfectly frank. If I'm being frank. If I'm... I don't understand why he's decided to attack here, though. It makes no sense. Just pure Stalker? My name is not Frank, by the way. This is not Frank TV, okay? It's Loco TV. Like and subscribe, everybody. So wait. Because of that Stalker attack, is this game okay again for Shin? There was really no reason for herO to attack, but I think he probably assumed that he was going to be able to obtain the victory with the attack straight up. And the odds were there, don't get me wrong. But this is still an awful lot of Zerg. No Storm, no Banelings, no Colossi. Oh my god. Super aggressive blink forward. Third hatchery is gonna get decimated. Shin doesn't want to fight the army straight up anymore and decides to go for the natural instead. Really? We're gonna end this absolute clown fiesta with a base race? New hatchery coming up in the far top left. Drones are dying already, though. And there are so many that have died in the last few seconds. Probes, likewise, are being decimated in the natural expansion. Gateways also unpowered. And that's going to really shut down the production here of herO, who is rebuilding at the far bottom of the map. Loads of pylons and photon cannons coming up in that section. Third hatchery of the Zerg goes down. Blink towards the left right here as well. Trying to hunt down as many of those Zerg units that are still moving. And I think it's pretty clear that there is a new hatchery now built in the top left. Zealots still slicing up whatever they can. A bunch of them are running around in the main base too. Mutas in the meantime destroying the mineral line over at the third base. Looks like the main is going to fall. Looks like the third is going to fall. Looks like the natural will likewise also die. Problem is, Shin does still not know about the Nexus at the 6 o'clock position. And this is very reminiscent of the second game in the series, where herO did not know about the gold. This time around, though, the tables have turned. And I think the army here of herO is better. In a straight-up engagement, I think the army right here of the Protoss is going to win. Still, if the fight takes place on creep, if some Zerg reinforcements can join in, it might just be possible. I really love this prison, by the way, that has snuck in. We still have 9 gateways. Most of them are unpowered. But what about this positional advantage here? Blink Stalkers are going to have to be moved towards the back, where they are indeed safe. Stalkers in the back, trying to blink them away. Zealots have already won the fight against the Lings, and I think there are indeed plenty of units in blue here to destroy the Zerg forces. Another banger of a match. Yeah. And I think at this point, Shin realizes that, wait a second. Where did all these troops come from? He only just now saw, if we go back just about 10 seconds, he only just now saw that there is something happening right over here. And if there's something happening over here, it's very likely that the bottom of the map was taken by the Protoss already. And I don't think this was going to be broken anytime soon. Looking at the amount of photon cannons. And that means it all comes down to this. Final map in this best of 5 series is Ruby Rock. Instant probe scout right here. From herO. Pylon indeed on the back of this. But we are going to start off this particular game with some harassment. Beautiful series so far, by the way. It has to be said. Neither player afraid to mix it up and go for strategies that are considered a little bit weird, a little bit suboptimal. They're constantly trying to mind game each other. Double drone pooled, by the way. Kind of love it. Is he going to be able to get the hatch anyways? Yep. This drone is now going to go back home. Shin wins this mind game for now. Keep in mind that sending a probe, right, at the very beginning of the game is costly. So for every second that a probe isn't mining, you lose about 0.8 minerals. Meaning that already this probe could have mined, give or take, 50 minerals. And it's done nothing. It's trying to be a little bit of a jerk. It's disrupting the worker line a little bit here of Shin. But it is those little things that do add up. Nexus here at 20 supply. Cybercore is likely also going to be coming up at 20 supply on the back of this. Cutting a worker here. Hatchery into a gas geyser, into a spawning pool for Shin. So no proxy hatch, sadly. Obviously, that is one of the things that this probe did achieve. It did see that at the very least there's no proxy hatchery coming or anything along those lines. Man, I actually really can't wait until Dark is done with his military service. It is highly likely that Dark will come back to StarCraft 2 when he's finished, but I feel like this patch is pretty much perfect for Dark. He must have been in the military for like a year now, right? It's been a while. Yeah, I think this is a very, very messy patch so far. Very entertaining, but it does favor the players that are a little bit crazier. And I think when it comes to crazy Zergs, Dark tops the list. Only time will tell, I suppose. Anyway, Stargate right now coming up here for herO yet again. Very similar builds here from him across the board, but different follow-ups each time. Yeah, maybe herO can build a shrine to Dark. That'd be nice. It feels like it's been a long time, but not entirely sure. Apparently he started his military service in May? Last time I checked, the military service in Korea was like a year and a half. But I do believe they've made some adjustments to it. I'm not sure if it's still just as long. A year and a half is crazy long, man. Yeah. Cheeky little probe, sorry, adept snipe over here on that creep tumor. Yeah. If it indeed started up in May and it's still a year and a half, we may not really expect any Dark games until, like, end of next year. Pretty nuts. By the way, he's still playing, right? So I've mentioned this a few times already, as we do have the Oracle going in. He's still playing, but as far as I understand, and again, obviously I'm no expert, but as far as I understand, you're not allowed to, like, have any income while you are doing your mandatory service. Meaning that participating in tournaments and whatnot is not allowed. So I think he can still play games on the weekend or maybe in the evenings or whatever. And he was still, like, rank 1 Grandmaster, like, a month or two ago, as of me casting this. Like, he proudly tweeted about it. He's like, hey, guys, I still got it. Which I thought was kind of funny. So he can still play. He's still participating, but He's just not able to play in any tournament that, you know, has any sort of income, so... Not sure if you can really do any show matches either. I guess at this point it's probably better not to. Anyways, Adepts going in. Twilight Council on the back it is now. We have a Evo Chamber building. All of this, though, has been quite normal, right? Neither player really taking too many risks. Nothing all too aggressive up until this point, actually. Only one cancelled structure there, it looks like, which is where those 6 minerals are gone. Extra gas is coming up at the third base pretty early, so yeah, herO's gonna see this now. The usual timing, so we do have the drones dying. First blood. The normal timing for the gases at the third base is when you have the mineral line fully saturated. Shin is going to go into a lair now. But this almost looks like a muta preparation. It's a bit of an oddball of a gas timing over here, because he does have double gas in the main base too. Why would we go 4 gases at this point in time? It doesn't really make sense. Adepts moving through, though, together with those oracles. And even though this was looking like a really solid early game for Shin initially, this, I guess, shows you the fragility of Zerg. Yet again, no Roach Warren. You're just kind of reliant on Queens and Lings only. No Baneling Nest either, by the way. Okay, all of the Adepts are going to die. But I think we can still call this a very successful push for the Protoss, who's now also working away with these oracles. Yeah, at the third hatchery of the Zerg player. And all of this is a bit problematic. Counterattack here with the Lings. Is it going to be enough? +1 melee is going to be done, I guess, soon enough. Do we have energy recharge? It's not actually available. Some decent force fields, though. Yeah. Can't complain too much. Not a single probe died. Hydra-ling. Instant ranged research. Fourth hatchery was researched too. Or was restarted, rather, too. And this is yet again for Shin. Pure hydra-ling. Now he goes Baneling Nest. But we've had the resources for the Baneling Nest forever. What's the timing right now? Like, why are we building it at this point in time, specifically? Why did we skip it in the previous game? The Robo Bay coming up here for herO, which I think is a good choice. Normally, roaches are quite scary against Colossi in particular. But we haven't seen a single Roach Warren here for Shin this entire series long. This being game number 5, and I don't believe we're gonna be going into one. It's interesting, right? Like, Hydras, not really changed. I guess they got that little dash ability, but other than that, they haven't really been changed much. Roaches have been virtually unchanged for years. They were very normal in the previous patch. For some reason now, we are shying away from them altogether. Now, one of the reasons, I guess, that you could mention for that is the fact that Banelings have +5 HP. But if you're gonna skip out on Banelings like what we saw in the previous game, and you get them very late in this one, then should we not have just built a Roach Warren? I really like the double Colossus transition here from herO. Colossi deal bonus damage against light units. And this is a very light Zerg army. Not only that, it's very low in HP too. One of the oracles does go down. Just hunting for some lucky hits here. But I think double Colossus is going to hit like a truck. Are we going to go 4 Colossi? Are we going to queue up some more? I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, we do go for 2 more. Okay. So I think he wants to probably hide these units. Ooh, we have a gigantic amount of stalkers here in the middle of the map. Zerg was actually ready to go for a Baneling push. Was this an overextension by herO? He blinks away. 4 Colossi with ranged are going to be so powerful. Banelings, by the way, are coming now. All right. There's 20 of them. He wanted to morph them in the middle of the map previously. As long as he can get the Colossi out, though, and all of this is going to be so powerful. So this is 2 more Colossi with ranged, +1 armor as well for the ground units. It's going to be phenomenal against Banelings. But let's see, how good is this micro going to be, and when will those additional Colossi show up in the fight? Here go the banelings, and the banelings are going to go straight for the probes, it looks like. Those probes are dead. It's a lot of workers falling in just a matter of seconds. Still, though, yeah, the Colossi are just going to be magnificent here. Hydra-ling is garbage against Colossi. Instant counter-attack here from herO. He's still chasing down a few of those Zerg units that couldn't slither away in time. I think the Colossi are going to win this fight. We have the... Ooh, we have the Prism. Yep, there we go. For a little bit of juggling. Bring the low HP units to the back. Excellent control right here from herO. GG immediately gets cold. Ultimately, this series indeed gets wrapped up with a Colossus attack, but the only reason why the Colossi came out are because of the other games in this particular best of 5. You wouldn't go for a Colossus opener like this against somebody that goes for a Roach Warren. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I think herO thought to himself, yo, we haven't seen Roaches a single time in this series at all. I think it's time for me to try the good old trusted, well, Blink Stalkers with Colossi yet again. And indeed, it worked a charm. So I wonder if when next time around these two meet in whatever tournament, I wonder if Shin will be going for a Roach Warren or two, even if he doesn't like it, which I don't think he does, but just to prevent this type of transition from destroying his Hydras. In the end, though, it's herO here who wins 3-2.